What if your club's boss was caught red-handed in a sleazy online scandal? Hit that subscribe button now for all sports updates. And stay locked in for the NRL chaos you won't believe. Picture this: the Wests Tigers, a club already teetering on the edge of disaster, suddenly plunged into utter turmoil when revelations surfaced about Holman Barnes Group chairman Dennis Burgess's Instagram account exposed for following over 200 sexually explicit pages, accounts dripping with adult content that shocked fans and insiders alike. This wasn't just a minor slip, it was a full-blown firestorm, igniting questions about leadership, integrity, and judgment of the highest levels. Burgess, a powerful figure in the Tigers' ownership structure, found himself under siege, with senior club figures pushing for his ouster amid calls for him to quit. The scandal erupted like a bombshell just days ago, sending ripples through the NRL community and forcing everyone to ask, how deep does this rub go? But hold on, because this is only the tip of the iceberg. What if this personal embarrassment was the spark that ignited a chain reaction of resignations and power struggles that could dismantle the entire club from within? The drama escalated when CEO Shane Richardson, a veteran of the game who had been steering the ship through stormy waters, dropped his own explosive announcement. It was work under the current ownership after the controversial sacking of 4 independent directors, including former chairman Barry Offerell. These firings weren't quiet, they were brutal, executed by the Holman Barnes Group, who hold 90% control and left the board in shambles. Richardson didn't hold back in his farewell, blasting a lack of transparency in decision-making and hinting at deeper conflicts, including an NRL integrity unit probe into his own conduct over potential conflicts with his son's business Enriched Group, which pocketed club funds for marketing gigs. The air thickened with accusations of financial mismanagement and whistleblower alerts painting a picture of a club fracturing at its core. Fans erupted on social media demanding answers, while Inner West Mayor Darcy Byrne issued a chilling warning that without swift changes the Wests Tigers could cease to exist as an NRL franchise. Imagine that: a storied team vanishing into oblivion due to boardroom betrayal. But just as the dust seemed to settle, another twist emerged: reports of the NRL Commission closely monitoring the saga, with whispers of possible intervention to stabilize the mess. Could this be the prelude to a league takeover where once what's left the tension mounted as potential new CEO candidates like former Manly boss Tony Mesra were floated, yet nothing confirmed, leaving supporters in agonizing suspense every passing hour? Brought fresh leaks and speculations, turning the Tigers headquarters into a pressure cooker of uncertainty and doubt. The surprises kept coming, with Burgess fighting for his job amid the X-rated revelations, his wild man reputation no liability that could topple the dominoes even further. One insider revealed how the Instagram follows weren't isolated, they symbolized a broader culture of unchecked power that alienated allies and bred distrust. Now, with fan protests planned for Pratton Park on December 13th, the groundswell of outrage built like a tidal wave, threatening to wash away the old guard entirely. Yet in this whirlwind of scandal, a glimmer of hope flickered. Perhaps this implosion was the brutal reset the club desperately needed to rise from the ashes stronger and more unified. But only time would tell if the Tigers could claw their way back, or if this was the beginning of the end. Dive deeper into the NRL whirlwind right here on All Sports Updates that shake the game. Now let's peel back the layers on how the scandal snowballed into a potential NRL crisis, starting with Burgess' Instagram fiasco. It wasn't just a few questionable follows, no, this was hundreds of pages featuring explicit content from adult models to risque influencers, all tied to his personal account. The exposure came swift and merciless, courtesy of eagle-eyed fans and media dibs that amplified the embarrassment across platforms like Reddit and Facebook. Within hours, the story dominated headlines, with outlets like the Australian and Daily Mail labeling it an X-rated scandal that put Burgess' job on the line. But the real surprise hit when connections emerged linking this to broader board infighting. The Holman Barnes Group, already under fire for axing directors, saw this as fuel to the flames. Critics argued it highlighted a hypocrisy in leadership. How could a chairman preach club values while indulging in such online antics? The fallout was immediate, with calls for his resignation echoing from club legends to everyday supporters. Yet Burgess dug in, refusing to step down and instead pivoting to damage control. But cliffhanger alert: what if the stubborn stance triggered the next bombshell? Richardson's exit to that toxic environment. Fostered by these events, he revealed in a passionate message to fans that the lack of transparency had become unbearable, especially amid probes into club finances while his son's firm received payments, raising red flags of nepotism and conflict. The NRL integrity unit swooped in, investigating whistleblower claims that could unearth even more dirt. Imagine the shock when details leaked about potential misuse of funds tying back to marketing deals that smelled of insider favoritism. This wasn't just a resignation, it was a detonation that left the CEO role vacant and the club scrambling for stability. Rumors swirled of Mesra being tapped as a savior figure, but nothing stuck, adding to the uncertainty. And here's where the storytelling turns gripping. Fans who had endured years of on-field struggles now faced an off-field nightmare, with Mayor Burns' dire prophecy ringing in their ears: the club might not survive without intervention. His call for protests amplified the drama, turning passive observers into activists ready to storm Pratton Park. The tension peaked as the NRL Commission hinted at oversight without committing to a full takeover, leaving everyone on a strip ownership rights. The possibilities hung like a dark cloud over the Tigers' future, each revelation building suspense like a thriller not level where no one knows yes the villain or redemption awaits. But one thing's clear, this saga exposed the fragile underbelly of NRL power dynamics where personal scandals collide with professional carnage threatening to doom a beloved franchise forever. Stay tuned to all sports updates for the latest twists in sports sagas that keep you on the edge. As the dust refuses to settle, the West's Tigers story takes another startling turn with whispers of an NRL takeover gaining volume amid the chaos. The league's top brass, including the ARL Commission, have been quietly monitoring the implosion, ready to pounce if the fighting spirals further out of control. Sources close to the matter suggest that if the Holman Barnes group can't stabilize the ship, the NRL might enforce emergency measures like appointing interim administrators or even revoking the license entirely, a move that would echo past interventions in troubled clubs. But here's the jaw-dropping surprise buried in the details. The integrity probe under Richardson isn't just about finances, it's uncovering a web of alleged mismanagement that could implicate more board members, including Bridges, whose Instagram scandal now seems like a symptom of deeper cultural issues within the ownership. The explicit follows were at Renton. They painted a picture of a leader out of touch with modern accountability standards, fueling demands for a complete overhaul. Fans forums buzzed with theories, some speculating that this could lead to a fan-led buyout or forced sale to save the club from extinction. With each resignation and revelation hiding mistakes, Richardson's departure message to supporters was a masterclass in emotional pull, urging resilience while subtly criticizing the powers that be. At the real cliffhanger looms what if the upcoming Brighton Park protest turns violent or draws league officials into the fray, forcing their hand. The mayor's warning was that hyperbole history shows NRL clubs have folded under less pressure, and with the Tigers already played by poor performance, this boardroom bloodbath could be the final nail. But amid the gloom, stories of fan loyalty emerged, tales of diehards rallying online to demand transparency and reform, turning the scandal into a catalyst for change. The surprises didn't stop there. Leaked emails hinted at internal revolts among staff who fear job losses and the shake-up, adding personal stakes to the corporate carnage as the clock tips toward December 13th. The anticipation builds. Will Burgess cling to power or bow out gracefully? Will the NRL step in as saviors or let the Tigers fend for themselves? The storytelling here grips, because it's not just about rugby, it's about betrayal, ambition, and survival in the cutthroat world of professional and empire. Keep coming back to all sports updates for unfiltered sports breakdowns that hit hard. In the end, the West's Tigers implosion boils down to a perfect storm of scandals, resignations, and existential threats that have fans questioning the club's very future. From Bridges' wild Instagram antics to Richardson's dramatic exit and the looming shadow of an NRL intervention, this saga has all the makings of a cautionary tale for the league. But here's the ultimate twist. Perhaps this rock bottom is the wake-up call, either to rebuild stronger with fresh leadership and renewed focus on integrity. The board dramas have exposed cracks that run deep, yet they also spotlight the passion of fans. Taps the true heartbeat of the Tigers as protests loom and probes continue the question. Hands heavy, is the club doomed or destined for a phoenix like rise? Only the coming weeks will reveal the fate. But one thing's certain, the NRL world is watching. Brett held for the next bombshell. Should the NRL step in? Vote below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all sports updates.
We read every single one. How many more leaders will walk away before the club finds stability? Looking back, signs were there. Richardson's public comments grew cryptic.